Welcome back to the life and times and thinking of the homeless boomer. Yeah, I do get distracted in some of my videos. I noticed that I went to talk about hypothesis and how I used that in a previous video, and then I got distracted, about my education and being self-taught. Never made clear that I may or may not have used that word correctly. I remember reading years ago the vocabulary level of different educations and professions, and being pretty much a high school dropout, I knew I was way behind. So I try to learn a lot of words on my own, and hypothesis is one that I recently came across. I think I used it correctly, but I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me. Let me know when I make mistakes like that. I also notice that, like speaking off the cuff, being authentic, and just posting videos raw, that I use expressions, say words, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and I don't want to offend people. Please let me know if I say anything offensive, and I will change course. Unless, of course, I just completely disagree with you, and then I won't. So anyway, I'm open to interactions and input. And the haters, I just won't pay attention to. The people that I most appreciate, I appreciate a lot of people for very different reasons. The equanimity is a trait that I like in people. The calmness of mind under all circumstances. Like Adam Mockler, when he interviews Mega, does it brilliantly without it's like de-escalation at its best. He's just his whole way of being is de-escalation. He doesn't nothing escalates around him. And I like Chris Como. I like the people that are canceled by both right and left. I am certainly not party loyal. And yeah, like everybody else, I'm going to have thinking that is controversial, because there is two sides to every story. But I'm looking to reduce the division, spread joy, and connect. We have way more in common than we don't, as a species. And yeah, let's dissolve the hatred. Vengeful thinking is addictive, and it takes an active resolution to stop it. After years of being resentful and vengeful thinking towards the ex, because, I walked away from the house, all the financial, everything. The battle I chose was to have equanimous parenting partnership. But that didn't work so well. Once she found out that she, by default, as a mother of a child out of wedlock, has full legal custody, and that was something that she made me fight for. And she made me fight tooth and nail for custodial, which was what was most important to me. And I got, except that I have screwed Daryl out of it by being a failure economically. So I covered hypothesis and my misuse of words. Feel free to call me out. Let me know. I'm always in for the education. And you know that spreading the joy and bringing things up that people really ought to be informed about, like economic policy, what the administration is doing, what's going on environmentally. You know, I follow a guy on shipping. I love I can't remember his name, but he does geopolitical stuff and populations. It'll come to me. That, or I'll have to follow up with it on the next video. I can see his face. Peter Zahan. I don't particularly care for the level of conviction that he knows everything. And exactly, he's been predicting the fall of China for 10 years. So there's no Dunning-Kruger applied to his thinking, but I do love the analysis he does with demographics of different countries, and a lot of his geopolitical information, but you got to separate that strong opinion stuff from him. And the doomsdayer, and I know, because that's what everybody's got to do to get clicks. I know I can't remember the woman's name on Raging Moderates. It'll come to me, but she hates it, and it's like, yeah, but you gotta do it, and I'll try my best not to, but you gotta do it. And so I, and if you're doing it off the cuff and you're doing it with strangers and you have no idea their political position, you can step on your dick hard sometimes and piss people off. But I was in a Dominican restaurant doing a pickup. And she was all apologetic that it wasn't ready and that I was, having to wait, and how she was having problems with the app. She couldn't extend the time, and she had time to kill. I obviously had time to kill because the meal was going to take another 7 to 10 minutes. And she started talking about more about the app and having to call customer service so that she can get it fixed, and was complaining about not being able to understand them and the accent of, because they outsource their customer service to Bangladesh or India or someplace, and yes, it can be frustrating when you can't understand somebody, and I have always gone out of my way to listen and understand, much like, a different dialect. And, you can pick up different things. And, like my ex, the mother of my child of 17 years, Salvadoran, and that, 14 was when she came here. And if we watched a movie with a strong English accent or Southern accent, she couldn't understand them. So yeah, it takes some effort to listen and understand, and figure out. It's like figuring out a dialect. Because I'm sorry, I'm American, and as they say, if you know 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you know 2 languages, you're bilingual, and if you know 1 language, you're an American. So, calling out the hypocrisy, I hesitated a little bit, and I said, as a Dominican, in a Dominican restaurant on U.S. soil, you should be careful about not understanding one's language, even though, or dialect or whatever it is. Could have gone over not so good. You could have been dicey. But I ended up making a good friend that gave me a free Dominican meal on my way out the door. So I don't know what the point of that is, other than sharing how one can be, how my commitment and how I want to be in the world, be known in the world, and stimulating conversation. Much like the woman over at INSA that had no interest in the hemp ban and how it's going to affect, and she could care less whether she had that job or not. And then not a week or so later, she came up to me and said, how did she put it? Because I love how she put it. You have me asking questions in rooms I otherwise wouldn't, which I did my job. That's the impact, the difference I want to make in the world. And I want your support, those that are financially able to pony up. Those that have progressive thinking and talk the talk, well, walk the walk. Support me in doing what I best can do. Because, like I say, that conversations I've had over at my favorite Starbucks, I would love to invite at least two of them, if not more, or, fuck the whole damn store for coffee. Obviously not at Starbucks, but there's a Joho's down the street that I would check and see how they would feel about it. But yeah, for one, there's not a chance in hell I could take the time off of doing what I'm doing to make the meager living I'm making. If I had resources, yeah, I would buy them lunch and promote unions and take all of the contacts out of the 6 stores, 8 stores that I frequent. I would expand that, because then I wouldn't have to be doing the delivery. I'd just be going to Starbucks and rallying people and doing the soft sell approach where I spread the joy. And plus I know that they swap stores now and then, so the network could be expanded incredibly, and we could unionize the Starbucks up here. So that's just one of the many things that I am looking to do. And it takes resources. And yes, I've got to take care of my 15-year-old. If you are really concerned about the next generation, help me and my son as well. I know no individual, I don't know how it's structured, or I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to ask for it. I don't know how to sell that I am worth keeping out there and active and making the impact, expanding the impact I'm interested in. Take me under your wing. I think I tell a good story. I am open to coaching and expanding on that. And, with my boy, it's, like I say, I'm a parking lot dweller. I've been observing a lot of things, a lot of different perspectives. I've met an entirely different group of people than I otherwise would have. And a lot of them are young. A lot of them are 30. A lot of them, none of them had father figures. If I had the resources, I would be out there doing that, finding a way to work with this generation. Single young men need help. They need our help. Even if it's just providing me with a really nice retirement setup, a nice fishing boat. This isn't just, I deserve it, I'm begging, I don't know what it is, I don't know how to communicate it. But if you alleviate me of financial stress, I have much more capacity to bring joy to the world, to bring progressive thinking to the world, to getting younger people thinking and desiring to be informed. And I can do that through my boy. If I have some place that he can have his friends and buddies over, I'm interacting with them. I'll have some kind of influence, some kind of just being an example of what it is to be a good man. If I've got the financial freedom to do fun stuff like having a boat to go fishing, his buddies can come out. And again, they're being with a good man, a good example. One of his buddies had the kahunas. I got a phone call the day before my son, the day before his friend's court date. He's one of, I believe, 6 other siblings, or a total of 6 boys, one of which is out of the house, and the youngest, I believe, is an infant. And she's a narcissist. The husbands have been asked to leave. There's been violence. It's a broken family. And again, no mental health for them, no financial opportunity for them. But, so I have compassion for them. But I also have my son's best friend that finally said enough is enough and demanded the courts separate him from that dysfunction, abusive household. So, if I'm financially secure, financially able, I'm influencing my boy's life, I'm influencing his friend's life. I don't want to be the dad living in poverty that represents my son's economic viability in front of his mates. He would, I couldn't blame him if he would never bring a potential mate to meet me or talk about me if my destiny is poverty. I'll keep learning what I need to be learning, keep moving forward, but I would like a different life. I think the value I bring to the world that allowed to enhance would be a well worthwhile investment. I don't know if investment. Just, I'm a fellow citizen right now. Policy, it's well documented. The rest of my life is gonna fucking suck if the self-professed philanthropists don't step up and take care of me. Now, the more you take care of me, the more I will be taking care of the world and bringing my message and joy to anybody, everybody that will listen. All right, love you guys. Peace, love, and harmony. Spread the joy. You catch up with me, you see me out and about. Give me a joy to the world. Peace out.